when I do research for this channel, I go to YouTube and I look at trends and I look at what all the other YouTube channels are doing. And what I've noticed is that most of the channels that are getting a lot of views are really obsessed with money. Like the kind of thumbnails and titles that I'm talking about is I spent $300,000 or $2 million offer or $1 million collection. And what I want to know is from you guys, since you're my followers and you're my community, is are you obsessed with the money as well, or do you care more about the cards? Because what I'm trying to figure out is why does everyone get obsessed about money when no one is buying those cards? None of these deals on any one of the YouTube channels are about buying cards. They're just about clickbaiting. Look at how much this card is worth. So I'm telling you right now, I've done 3 shows in the last 3 years, okay? And I've gone to probably a dozen card shows, and none of those cards are selling. None of them have been selling. They weren't even selling during the pandemic. They're in the case, and yes, there's a price tag on it, $15,000, $50,000, $100,000, but no one's buying those cards. So what I'm asking you is, do you think that the card is worth that amount of money if no one's buying it? And that's what I want to explore on this channel this week is, what are the cards actually worth if no one buys them?
EDI Sports Show every Friday, hot take, what's the market, behind the scenes from the car shows to the streets. There's only one show, there's only one show I wanna watch, EDI Sports Show every Friday.
Welcome back to EDI Sports Show. We are doing the last week before I go on vacation. I will have videos come out throughout the week, so hit the subscribe button so you don't miss when we come back. I will probably also do a post on both Instagram and X as to when I'm going to do a live right here on Friday so you guys can join with me. I did do a premiere, that was 2 weeks ago, and I did get to chat with about 50 different followers, which was awesome. So I'm going to try to do a live and see how that goes. So definitely put down in the comments if you want to join the live. Maybe I can do a mailing list and I can send you directly an email alert and let you know, hey, this is when we're going to do a live. If that's what you want to do, put that in the comments as well. Like I said, you can put all of your questions for the hobby down in the comment section below as well. I know a lot going into the comment section, but that's because at the very end of this show, I go into your viewer comments, which is my favorite section of this show. But here you go. So this is what we're going to talk about this week. Are the cards actually worth the amount of money that the price tag on them says if the cards never sell? Now, I've done 3 different shows. I've been a dealer at 3 different shows, and I actually saw some recent videos, and I might actually do one while I'm on vacation. I might do a video about how to actually set up as a dealer, how much I made as a dealer, and sort of whether or not it's worth it for you. But it's interesting to see because I sold a ton of product. Like I sold wax boxes, I sold rack packs, I sold single cards, I sold dollar box, I sold a ton of stuff. And so what I want you to understand is I could sell stuff because they were priced properly. Now, what you need to understand is priced properly means that they're not above what they're worth. And some of you, I guess dealers or collectors or flippers or whatever you want to call yourselves, some of you don't really know what cards are actually worth. And so what you're doing is you're going to a card show, you're seeing the sticker price and going, oh, that one must be worth $15,000. And it's like, no, that's what the dealer wants to sell it for. But what is it actually worth? And so the question becomes, are you paying what the card is worth, or are people just holding on to cards with a hope and a dream that they're going to get their dream price at some point? What I want you to know is I have been doing this for 4 decades. That's right. I started as a teenage sports card dealer. I am now a collector. I do deals and I do sell cards because I'm trying to get rid of my hoard. Thankfully, I no longer have 8 million cards and I am down to under 500,000 cards. So I am really in the home stretch. And I feel much better about not having a hoard hanging over my shoulder. Now, in last week's video, I did highlight a Reddit post where someone actually inherited 700,000 cards. Again, I have no idea what's in the 700,000 card hoard, because when I reached out to the guy, because he posted like, what should I do? I said, what are the cards? Like, what is it? What's in there? And he refused to answer the question. I don't know why. He didn't say he didn't go through it. He said, I went through a lot of it. He said, I didn't go through everything. I said, okay, well, based on what you went through, what's in the hoard? Like, what are the 700,000 cards? Like, is it a specific era? Like, is it 1990s? Is it all over the place? Is it random? Is it organized by player? And that's what he actually said. It's organized by player. So I said, okay, do you have a list of the Hall of Famers then? Like, which players are in the Hall of Fame? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, then what are you trying to do? I'm like, if you organize it as a Hall of Fame list, then you could probably sell those to somebody who wants those Hall of Fame players. I go, but I don't know what it is that you're trying to do. And he wanted to say, well, if the cards are worth at least $1, then I have a $700,000 value on this hoard. And I was like, yes, if you sell everything individually. I go, so if you have the time to sell 700,000 cards, then yes, you're probably going to get $700,000 back. I don't know how much time you have to sell 700,000 cards. And he's like, oh, I have all the time in the world. I'm like, and I didn't respond, but I'm going to tell you the truth. No, you don't. You don't have all the time in the world. In fact, that's the wrong way of thinking about it. You don't have all the time in the world. Maybe you need to listen to young people. Maybe you need to listen to Gen Z. You know, there's a reason why it's called YOLO. You only have one life to live. And that means you also don't have as much time as you think you do. If you're in your 30s, how much time do you think you have? You only have 40 years left. I know you're like, but no, but what? Yeah, you're literally near mid-age. And so I understand that you're like, I hadn't thought about that before. If you're in your 20s, you have 50 years to go. If you're in your teens, you have 60 years to go. Like, I think that you need to really understand that you don't have as much time as you think you do. And so you really should be thinking about what you want to do with your time and then what you shouldn't do with your time. So if you have 700,000 cards, again, this guy inherited that. He didn't buy them and collect a hoard on his own. He inherited that. And therefore, if you inherit a hoard, you should consider trying to sell most of it off as quickly as possible. So what is a 700,000 card hoard worth? And that's the question. I can't tell you unless I know what's in the hoard. And you're not going to be able to sell all 700,000 cards in one deal. It's not possible. It's too big. You can't sell a lot that's more than a few thousand cards if you're going to be asking for astronomical amounts. Therefore, if you have a few thousand cards, unless there's like major cards in that lot, you're looking at less than $1,000. That's the math. That's what you need to understand. So when I go to a card show and I see these cards, again, really old and expensive cards, and they're asking for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, I want you to know they're never selling that card. In fact, it's been sitting in that case for months and maybe even years. I've seen some dealers at shows where they have the same inventory from show to show to show. And so at some point you have to ask the question, if I'm not selling the card, then maybe I'm not priced properly. Yes, some guide somewhere, like back in the day, the Beckett price guide used to say what cards were worth. Now, I understand that that's what the Beckett price guide used to say, but I knew what the cards are really worth. So the price guide was just more of a guide. Again, there was no immediate, like, this is what it is. It's just like, okay, this is the range. So if they said a card was worth $50, I could tell whether or not people were buying it at 50, because if they weren't buying it at 50, it's not worth $50. And that's what you need to understand. If people don't buy the cards at the prices you put on the slab, then they're not worth that price. Because otherwise people would walk up to your table and just be like, oh my God, I need to buy that card right now. Now, the way that I price cards, people actually said that. They would come up to the table, and cards that normally would not sell, people would look at and go, oh, I need to buy that card. Okay, and I would ask them, well, why do you need to buy that card? Is that for your PC? And they're like, no, that's just amazing price. I could probably sell it for more. And that's where you need to realize, no, you can't. You're buying it at the price that's good to buy. No one else is going to pay more than you did. See, and that's what I know how to do. I know how to price cards at the level where you go, oh, I should buy that, because again, the perceived value is so much greater that you think you could sell it on the back end. And unless you have a buyer, unless you know someone that's going to pay more, you're never going to sell it for more. Maybe $2 more, maybe $5 more, but if that's what you want to do is play the nickel and dime game, hey, be my guest. See, I don't mind losing $2 or $5 on a deal if I get the whole value back. So if I'm pricing a card for $50 and you can sell it for $52, be my guest. I'll take the $50 and you can work for the $2 profit. Again, you're going to lose out on fees and shipping and all of the time and effort. And if that's what you want to do with your time, that's totally fine for $2. But I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather come down $2, let you pay for the card, and then you deal with the problem. And that's what you need to learn how to do in this hobby if you don't want to, one, collect a hoard, and two, you want to get the most money out of your cards. All right, let's get to Where's the Market? In this week's Where's the Market, I figured I would address something that I did last week, and that was this 1955 starter pack. Now, I did see some comments where people were upset. Again, I don't know why people get upset. I understand. If you have a question, ask a question. If you have a comment, make a comment. I don't understand why people get upset. So I'm trying to understand my audience and understand new followers and just where you're coming from. Again, like I said, there's no reason to get upset at anything that I say. If you disagree, that's fine. Make a comment, say I disagree because. We can have a civil discourse on this channel. In fact, I encourage you to disagree with me and tell me why you disagree with me. That's fine. I'm not 100% correct all the time. I'm not. I believe and I have convictions and I'm 99% sure of what I say. 99%. And I always have and I reserve that 1% where, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. And if you're right and you can prove that you're right, guess what? I'm going to say you're right. And I've actually done that on this channel in the comment section where I've seen comments from people who are like, no, this is the real deal. And I'm like, you're right. That is the real deal. And I was wrong. Because I have no problem telling you when I'm wrong if I'm wrong. So that's the whole point of watching this show, is to kind of get into like, well, what do you believe? And are you right or are you wrong? There's nothing wrong with being 99% sure of what you think. But remember, there's that 1% chance that you could be wrong. Now, I was trying to sell this for, or at least I priced this at, so there's 10 cards in this. It's all 1955 commons. And what I told you guys is that it's worth, again, per card individually, between $18 to $20 each card. Why is that what 1955 commons are worth? I don't know. That's what they're valued at. That's the ceiling. And I want everybody to understand the ceiling means they're not worth more than that, okay? So if you pay more than $18 or more than $20 for a common card in 1955, you're overpaying. So what I priced these 10 cards at was at $175. Now, if anybody's interested, you can make me an offer. Again, $175 is the top. The top. I'm not asking for more than $175, and I fully understand that if you make me an offer, it's going to be under $175. And that's the point. People getting upset with my pricing doesn't make any sense. I'm in agreement with you. If you don't want to pay $175, what would you pay? Under $175. But I have to price it at a level that makes sense. So it's worth $185 to $200. I'm pricing it at $175, and then you make offers off of that. I'm not pricing it at $185, and I'm not pricing it at $200. That's just too much, because that's what it's worth. That's the maximum it's worth. I can't price it at the maximum. I have to come down in order to price it. Hopefully that's starting to make sense to all of you. When you look at what cards are actually worth, that's how you know, okay, I can't charge exactly what the card is worth. I have to charge a little bit lower, and then you take offers. Now, if you're not doing, I'm going to put this down for a sec, but if you're not doing your price to cost ratio, like basically it cost me this X much, and I'm pricing it at this point, what's my margin? Like, what's my profit margin? If you don't understand your profit margin, then you can't sell cards. And I think that's sort of the issue that's going on in the hobby right now, is people don't understand that you're paying too much for cards if you ever want to sell them again. You're not going to be able to make a profit off the cards. Now, if you're a collector and you're like me, I don't really want to make a profit on every card. I actually prefer that I'm able to just get my money back and then deploy that cash into something that I want, or make a trade, or do a trade cash deal, and just try to move my collection around. So I have a whole bunch of cards here. So let's just do that as an example. So I have a whole bunch of cards here. I don't want these cards for my PC. If I can transfer these cards into cards that I want, then I'm doing fine. And I actually am okay with that. So if I don't make 20% profit or 10% profit, it's fine, because I'm moving out of stuff I don't want in my PC into stuff that I do want in my PC. And for me, I'm still in the consolidation era of my hoard. I'm down to 500,000 cards. And so if I can move out of bulk, and bulk to me just means more than one card, because I've gotten rid of all the commons at this point. I have more stars, Hall of Famers, and some older vintage stuff like pre-70s. So, 50s and 60s cards that are just, commons. Again, 1955 commons. They're not superstars, but I have a lot of those commons. And so if I can move out of this into something else that I want. Now, the problem being is that I'm not sure how to make all this work. I've looked into Veriswap, but I don't have a big enough audience to really make Veriswap work. And that's the problem, is that I don't understand how you actually do this stuff. I'm going to put this down too. I don't understand how you do this without a big audience. If you have a big audience, then you can use these apps, because you have to, at some point, you start paying for the app. And I don't personally want to pay for an app. I just want to be able to use the app for what it does and then kind of move forward. So I like the idea of Veriswap, but it doesn't make any sense if you have no audience, if you have no following. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not big enough. And so that's the issue. Now, Whatnot doesn't make any sense either, because I don't have that much inventory anymore. Yeah, I have 500,000 cards, but I'm not going to, it's too much work to go on Whatnot and try to sell commons on Whatnot for basically $1 each. And then I have to spend all that time mailing and shipping them out. I mean, it's crazy. It's way too much work for no money on the back end. And so that's why about 6 months ago, the last deal that I did was about $5,000 worth of stuff. Like we're talking cards, we're talking sets, we're talking jerseys, we're talking a whole bunch of stuff, autographed baseballs. I sold $5,000 worth of stuff for $1,500 in cash. Now I know what you might be saying is, well, wait a minute, that's a huge discount. That's way less than 50%. Yeah, it is. Because in honesty, and that's what I did with the dealer, and I said, look, this is worth $5,000. I think you could get $4,000 if you are patient with this lot. Like I think you could actually pull out $4,000 of cash if you're patient. And so he said to me, okay, I appreciate that. So if it's really worth $4,000 in cash to me, I'll offer you $1,500. And I said, all right, we'll do it. Because you know what? In 1 hour, I made that deal, $1,500. He took all the stuff out. Again, I'm getting rid of a hoard. And I no longer had all of that stuff on my head. I had $1,500 worth of cash that I can now deploy to anything I wanted in my actual PC. And that's what you need to understand. I had $5,000 worth of stuff, but I got $1,500 worth of cash. Now, all of you might be like, oh, but you lost money. And I didn't lose money. I gained time. I got rid of a ton of stuff. I got $1,500 in cash, which is nothing to sneeze about. Literally, folks, when you can make $1,500 cash, stop turning your nose up at it. That's not nothing. That's a huge deal. That's a real offer. When the dealer said, I'll give you $1,500 cash, okay, that's a real offer. I could have negotiated for 16 or 17, and he might have given it to me. But you know what? At the end of the day, I just wanted to get rid of the stuff. He was going to sell it, and I could just move on, take the cash, and start enjoying my PC. So that's where's the market. Let's get to behind the scenes, and I have a lot to say behind the scenes. Welcome to Behind the Scenes, and what I like to do at this section is just kind of be real with you. I guess the best way to describe it is just being authentic, right? Like this is just me. You watch this show, you subscribe, you follow, you come here every single Friday, and you kind of get to know me a little bit, but you also get to know my thoughts on what's going on in the hobby, or what I think about the hobby, or what I think about sports. I'm going to be making a whole bunch of videos, which is the reason why I'm going on vacation with this show for a few weeks, because I need time to actually do some of these other videos, and I want to do some hockey previews. I want to do a Ranger preview. I want to do some other videos about the sports card hobby. I want to finish. I made 2 videos. One is how I sold cards on Reddit and then how to ship and pack those cards. And I finished one of the videos in terms of full production, but I've still got to work on the first video. So it just takes a lot of time. And I don't know if you guys know how much time it takes for me to make these videos. For this show, it takes me 2 to 3 days to make this show, to produce it from beginning to end. 2 to 3 days of production time for shooting, writing, editing, graphics, and all of that, and then uploading to YouTube. So if you were wondering like, okay, well, why do I only broadcast once a week? It's because this show takes like 2-3 days. Now, I also have if I want to do another video, like if I want to do anything outside of this show, that will also take anywhere from 3 to 4 days to produce those videos, and sometimes up to an entire week. And what happens is if I don't have a week to give to doing those videos, they just kind of fall by the wayside. I have in my editor on my computer, I have a whole bunch of started videos that I just didn't have the time to finish. So if I go on vacation with this show for a couple weeks, I can actually start finishing some of those projects, get them off my plate, and then come back to you guys and kind of just do what's next. Now I want to tease, here you go. So if you're listening, here's what I want to tease. I'm going to do a video on where the market is going in the next 6 months. So if you're looking for where's the market going to be from September through December, I'm teasing that you're going to find that on this channel. So if you want to know, hit the subscribe button right now and share this video with everybody you know, because I would love to be able to go into that with everybody. Now, I might do that in a live or I might do it in a produced video. It depends, because I want to be able to show you the receipts. I want to be able to show you the data and the proof. I don't want to just say like, this is what I think, but I want to be able to show you why I think that that's what's going to happen over the next 6 months. I want to thank you for joining me. So now, before we get to the viewer comments, I'm moving this section around. Let's get to the card of the week, and then we're going to get to your viewer comments. So stay tuned. Now it's time for the card of the week. This week's card of the week is the 1991 Upper Deck Rickey Henderson card. He played 25 seasons with 9 MLB teams, including the Oakland A's and New York Yankees. From 1979 to 2003, Rickey Henderson is a Hall of Famer, won 2 World Series, and holds the stolen base record with 1,406 steals. It's time for my favorite section of the show. We have 7 awesome comments this week, and I don't want to waste any time. I've got my graphics done, so we're going to get into the first comment right here. So this is from Old School Rookie Collector 6667. He says, A+ video, totally agree. And that's on the video that just dropped the beginning of this week, the selling sports card strategy for 2024. So I appreciate it. Let's get to comment number 2. This one's a good one, so here we go. From Joey Reynolds, he says eBay charges more than 13 to 15% fee year to date. I have gross sales of $39.34 over 226 cars. The total fees was $562 plus shipping of $347.80 equals $905. And that's 23% in fees and shipping. So I've only netted $28.07. So actually, yeah, I appreciate that. Let's talk about this, Joey. So what you're saying is the shipping plus eBay fees is 23%. And I didn't really include the shipping in my previous video when I talked about eBay fees being high. I was just talking about what the actual eBay fees off the sale were. Then you add on top of that shipping, if you're doing free shipping, yes, absolutely, you're going to be paying probably at least 20% of whatever the sale price is to, I guess, obviously what you're saying is up to 23%. So yeah, I mean, if you're taking a quarter off of every dollar that you make on eBay, you better be making a lot of profit, because that's a lot of money. I mean, 25% is a lot. In fact, you're probably better off, honestly, if I'm just giving you some advice, you're better off consigning than doing it yourself if you're at that point. 1, you don't have to deal with the shipping problems. 2, you don't have to deal with the sales. You're just paying whoever the consignor is, whatever their fee is, and it's probably 15%. So you're actually saving money if you do it with a consignor. So maybe that's the way for me to go. The problem is that the cards that I have don't really market well. Like, they're all over the place. So I don't have like a curated sale like inventory. My inventory I have left is, just a bunch of random stuff. So like, these are all Mets cross years, so like I did a team lot. So, this is 73, this is 75, this is 74. Let's see, we've got 78, more 74. I mean, they're just all over the place. 72, that's the problem. The problem is my stuff is not organized enough to do with a consignor. Consignor only wants X amount of stuff, and they want stuff they know they can move. They don't want commons lots. That's the problem. So what do you do? All right, I want to thank you, Joey Reynolds, for that. Let's get to the third comment. Here we go. And this was another great one. Again, everybody that puts down your comments, you are doing a great job. So here we go. So this is from San Francisco Krager. Is that, I don't know what that refers to, if that's your name or if that's Roger Craig. I don't know, maybe. All right. COMC or COMC, check out my cards, is the closest thing to what you mentioned. No ridiculous fees and individual shipping cost per card. Search feature and sorting are much better than eBay. The only downside is that they may take forever to ship out unless you use the express option. I'm going to push back one thing on COMC. The only thing that's bad about COMC is that you're paying up front. Like, you're paying to send your cards in, and you're being charged per card. You're being charged, I think it's 50 cents a card. So if you're trying to sell, like, these cards are only worth about $1 each. So I'm paying 50 cents to sell a card for $1 that I'm then gonna pay fees. Like, I'm literally gonna be making 20 cents a card. And they're not even all gonna sell. And then if they stay on COMC for too long, then you pay, holding costs. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing, is that the market, there's no more liquidity in the market. I need everyone to understand that this is the bigger problem. The market may be bigger. There may be more eyeballs on the market, but people are not buying all the cards. People are buying a certain section of cards, and it's mostly modern. They're not buying vintage, not at the level that they are. If you really want to sell vintage, you got to go to a card show. So online, what they're looking for is modern cards, anywhere from 2019 to 2024. That's what's selling online, and very specific players. And outside of those players, there's no volume. And that's what you all need to be aware of. There is no volume of sales. Those days are gone. And that's why the market keeps coming down, is because if you want to sell your cards, you have to lower the price because the volume is gone. Hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate it, SF Krager. All right, let's get to the next comment. Here we go. They got a couple more comments to go, so don't go away. Here we go. BBWUFW5FC. These are tough ones. All right, you got a card you really liked and wanted, so no, I don't believe you overpaid for it. The value of the card isn't just about what it sold for, though that certainly is a big part. Very nice card, and glad you were able to get something you obviously enjoy at a reasonable price, in my opinion. All right, we're going to talk about this card because I got 2 comments on this one, and I appreciate it. So the card we're talking about is the Doc Gooden autograph card that I bought, and I admitted that I overpaid for it. What is it worth? It's worth around $20 all in with shipping and fees. I paid $28.80 for this card, and I'm admitting that that's overpaying for the card. I understand what you're saying, and I understand what the comments are saying, and I understand where the hobby is coming from. You didn't overpay for it if you paid what you wanted to pay. No. I paid what I was comfortable paying for it. That's what you need to understand. There's a difference between what I'm comfortable paying and what overpaying is. I overpaid for this card, but I didn't really have a choice if I wanted it now. I could wait 6 months, somebody will put it up and it'll be, $15 and I could get it for $20. But again, the margin doesn't matter to me. I want to get the card now, therefore I don't have to go and look for the card. I've been looking for a Doc order for about 2 years, so I'm kind of tired of looking for the card. This is the card I actually like, therefore I was like, I'm going to get it. End of story. I don't care that I'm overpaying $8 for it. And that's what you guys need to understand. I'm never going to make that money back. I need that to be clear. That's why I mean I'm overpaying for the card. I'm never going to make the money back on this card. And some people even said, well, you paid, it's a sticker auto. So take a look. It's a sticker auto. Okay, I understand that. So yes, that's why I'm never going to get my money back. It's not worth what I paid for it. It's not worth that. Again, when you're collecting, you have to be aware of the prices. You have to be aware of what cards are worth, because you are going to pay more than what the card is worth sometimes. But you should know that going in, so that when you go to sell your cards, you don't get bogged down with what you paid for it. See, if I try to sell this for $28, I'm never going to sell it. That's what you need to understand. I'm not going to be able to get my money back. Hopefully that's making sense, because what I see on eBay is people selling cards because they bought too high. See, if you bought a card for more than what it's worth, then you can't go back to someone else and say, well, you need to pay me what I paid. And that's the issue. I go to card shows, I talk to dealers, I tried to get because I'm trying to get a 2008 LeBron James or a 2008 Kobe Bryant. Again, 2008 is the design that I like. I want to be clear. So 2008 Topps, I love the design. So I want a LeBron James and a Kobe Bryant. I don't have any other LeBron James cards. That's the one I want. So, because I'm not going to collect other LeBron James cards. That's the only LeBron James card I want. The problem is, when I went to a show, the dealer wanted to sell it for $400. Again, ungraded. And I was like, but it's not worth $400. Like, why are you trying to sell it for $400? And he's like, well, that's what I paid for it. And I'm like, so in other words, what you're telling me is that you don't want to sell it. And he's like, no, I want to sell it. I'm like, how could you want to sell it for more than what it's worth? That doesn't make any sense. You want me to pay you for your mistake. Again, I didn't say that to them, but I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Why is the buyer supposed to bail you out? This ain't the government. This ain't Wall Street. We're not here to bail you out. You made a mistake. You overpaid for your cards. You need to bite the bullet, and you need to bring your prices down. That's what the hobby's all about. It is what it is. Let's get to the next one. This comment is also just awesome. Again, awesome comments. My community is amazing. I love this section. I'm telling you right now, I love the viewer comment section. It's great. All right, here we go. This is from Dr. Dr. Perlman, TV 6357. All right, sorry, Doc, you underpaid. In my humble opinion, you seem to devalue the idea of modern raw, low print, run, or SP cards, so short print cards, to the point of them, any cards having any dollar value past a couple of bucks. Don't get me wrong, I agree with a ton of your content. I'm a collector of baseball cards for sure. I do like knowing I could buy and sell rarish, modern, or other collectibles for more than 28 and feel okay about it, respectfully. All right, Dr. Perlman, we're going back to the Doc Auto because that's the card we're talking about. Yes, they are overvalued. I think that what happened over the last couple of years, so for this card in particular, so this is numbered to 25, so it's technically a short print, all right? So I bought it for 28. It's worth 20. I've even said that it's probably going to be worth 15 in the future. So I'm already aware that I'm losing another $5 on the deal. So when I go to resell this, I'm probably going to be able to resell it between 15 to 20. So I'm losing money no matter what I'm doing. There are 3 sections to this, okay? And what you need to understand, Dr. Perlman, is not that what the cards that you value. I think we need to make some distinctions. There's cards you value, and then there's what you're comfortable paying, and then there's what the card is actually worth. So there's what you're valuing the card at, what you're comfortable paying, and then what it actually is worth. And those 3 things don't always align. This card is worth 20. I was comfortable paying 28, but what it's really worth is probably 15. And that's my point. That's my point. I'm not saying that every card isn't worth $100 or every card is worth $1. I don't agree with you. There are, especially for short prints, I think short prints actually, if it's a player that you really want, so like if it's a short print of, like I bought a short print for Jacob deGrom. It was a short print 1971 design, so it's the black border, and deGrom is pitching from the mound, and it's an overhead shot. So it's a very cool card. Somebody was trying to sell it for $10. That's a short print. And I'm like, it's not worth $10. Like, it's just not worth it. It's worth $5 or $6. I ended up paying $5 for it. Is it worth $1? No, it's a short print. So it's worth about $5. I ended up paying $5. I didn't pay $10 because that was overpaying way too much for just a regular card. And that's my point, is that the base paper is not worth much anymore because of the fact that there's too much competition. There's too many cards to choose from. That's the problem with all the modern cards. You have 30 cards in each year to choose from. You can't buy them all. And that's the issue. Pokemon is retaining value because they don't oversaturate the market. There's only one set and that's it. It's very limited. So you can actually collect the whole set. That's actually the whole point of Pokemon, is collect them all. There's 200, like I don't know how many cards are in the set anymore, but there used to be like 200 cards in a set. And so a kid could literally go and get 200 cards. Now, some of them became extremely expensive, and the only way you're going to get them is opening up a pack. Those days in baseball and football and basketball are gone. Those days are gone. If you buy a wax box, you're overpaying for the wax box. So you're not getting anything of value. You're literally chasing after 1 or 2 cards, which means that it's a lottery ticket, because that your odds are so low. Your odds are so low. And I'm not into gambling. I'm just not a gambler. You can do all the gambling you want, but I'm just telling you, you're going to lose. You're going to lose your money every single time. It's not set up for you to win. It's set up for you to lose. Yes, you might get lucky, but you're going to get lucky 1% of the time. I mean, is that really what you want to do with your money? You want to waste it on that? So I hear you, Dr. Perlman. I hear you. But what you need to know is, when you put your list of cards together, your chase list, whatever you're collecting, you have to really look at and say, okay, what am I comfortable paying? And the only way you're going to know that is to know what the cards are worth. And that's what I do. I figure out, I go, okay, I have my spreadsheet, I have all the cards that I want, and I go, okay, what are they worth? And then I look at and I go, what am I willing to pay? And half the time, they're worth more what I'm willing to pay. So I just go, okay, I will wait. I will wait. And maybe, see, this is where the maybe thing comes in. Maybe they'll come down in price. Now, I know that all the cards are going to come down over the next 6 months. I know that. They're all coming down over the next 6 months. The problem is, I don't know how far they're going to come down. So that's the question. So I will wait to see what happens, because I know they're going to come down. Now, it might come down 1%, they might come down 5%, they could come down 30%. Who knows? Modern cards are probably going to come down a lot more than vintage cards. But everything is coming down because unemployment, and I've said this before, unemployment is going to hit the fan. Starting in September, you're going to see numbers, and you're going to see the media start to panic. And once that happens, everyone's going to run for the hills. They're going to sell their cards as quickly as possible. And when more stuff comes on the market and everybody's selling and trying to get as much money they can, prices are going to fall. That's how a market works. And that's what's going to happen over the next 6 months. People are going to start panic selling, and so therefore you have to make a choice. Now, if you buy at the beginning of the panic, that means you're probably going to lose money on the back end, because the prices are going to continue to fall. But you have to know what you're comfortable paying. So as a collector, it doesn't matter that the card is coming down. Like I said, this card is going to go to $15. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to charge $20 because I want to get my money back. I'm going to charge whatever it's worth when I go to sell it. If it's worth $15, I'm going to sell it for $15. And that's what I want everybody to understand. Dr. Perlman, that's what I really want you to understand, is I got to sell it for what it's worth, not what I think it's worth. Let's get to the next comment. We only got 2 left. All right, so here we go. This is the next comment. This is from Hero3. I'm about to overpay this weekend. I'm going to buy some Topps Chrome. I love that comment, and you are right. You are going to overpay like the dickens. Now, here's actually the suggestion. I made this multiple times. Instead of buying wax, don't buy the wax. Like, I don't have any problem with you buying Topps Chrome 2024. Literally, this is Topps Chrome 2024. What I'm telling you is, don't buy the wax. This cost me $28. Okay, so I got one card that I want. If I bought a wax box for $49, I wouldn't get this card. See my problem? Like, I just spent more money. I spent $50 and I didn't get the card I wanted. Why would I do that? I spent $28 and I got the exact card I wanted, and I still have money left over because I didn't waste it on wax. That's what you guys need to do. And if you take that $50 and go to a card show and go through a dollar bin with 2024 Topps Chrome, you'll actually make out like a bandit. You'll probably get 20, 30, 50. It's $50 out of a dollar bin. You could probably get 100 cards out of a dollar bin for $50 for 2024, and you could get all the cards you want. That's what I want you to understand. You could get all the cards you want out of a dollar bin for $50 because you could probably get 100 cards. Like, no dealer, like if I gave a dealer $50 and said, hey, can I take 100 cards out of your dollar bin? They'd be like, absolutely. Like, yeah, here you go. Go ahead, pull them all out. Because $50 is worth way more than 100 common cards out of the dollar bin. And again, in the dollar bin, there's more than just common cards. I've seen in dollar bins cards worth $4, $5, $10. I bought a Pete Alonso rookie out of a dollar bin. It was a $10 rookie. I paid $1. I bought a whole bunch of Justin Jeffersons out of a dollar bin. They were worth $5 to $6 each. Again, dealers are putting cards of some value in the dollar bin because it doesn't make sense to sell them individually. They're looking to make profit. So yes, they'll put a card that they bought wax in, or they got it out of another deal. They'll put it in a dollar bin box. You're going to get a deal because if you go through, there will be cards that are worth $3, $5, $10, maybe even $15 in the dollar bin. If you give your $50, you could make out like a bandit. That's my suggestion. So again, great comment. I love it. Here's the last comment. And this is actually, I go back, I did talk about this during the episode, but here we go. One of One Designs. Again, great YouTube name. Awesome. One of One Designs. What do you think about VeriSwap? So I did talk about that in the episode, but I figured I would do it again right here in the comments section. So I have checked out VeriSwap. I like the app. I want to say this up the top. I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I don't think VeriSwap is going to sponsor me anyway, but I like the app. The problem is that it doesn't work if you have no following. If you have no Instagram, if you have no X, if you have no TikTok, if you have no way to get eyeballs to your VeriSwap, no one knows what you got. And there's not a big enough market on VeriSwap that people are going to find you on their own. Yes, you might be able to make a deal, yes, but honestly, VeriSwap is probably better used as a method after you talk to someone online. Say, hey, I'm going to post it on VeriSwap. We can do the deal there. What I like about VeriSwap is that it is going to be a verified swap. That I like. I think it's a great idea. The problem is the logistics of it. How do you get people to your VeriSwap store? Like, if you had enough people who are looking at your store, you could put up everything that you own and then trade it or sell it. The problem is, again, VeriSwap is really for higher end cards. It's not for lower end cards, and that's the problem. We still don't have a place for low end cards. We need a site that allows you to build lots. Like, literally, where you could go to a store, let's say, like, the best fix that I would say for eBay is where you could have, the store basically has like these toggle switches, and you could select all the cards that you want. And then what a seller could do is say, okay, let's say you're selling common cards for $1.49, because that's what Burbank was starting to do because of inflation. So $1.49 per card. But if you pick 10 cards, it goes down to $1. But you have to pick the 10 cards, and then it automatically says, okay, you reached your thing. You reached the milestone. Okay, it's 10, boom. And then you only have to press once, add to cart. Done. Because unfortunately, eBay's store it's just not friendly. It's just not user friendly for cards. You can't really search within someone's store for cards. If someone has 1,000 listings, good luck. You're never going to find what you want. Because most of the time, you don't know exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for, let's say you're building a set, you're looking for a specific year. So you're like, okay, this year. And so some stores have like 2 cards, some have 3 cards. You want to be able to find people that have the most amount of cards. Like I would like to be able to get 1940 play ball common cards. The problem is that they only go up on auction and it's $5 shipping per card. That's ridiculous. I'm willing to pay $5 for the card. I don't want to pay $5 shipping on top of every single card I buy. That's nuts. And that's where the costs start to get astronomical. And that's the issue. I'm willing to pay X amount for these cards, but then you add in the shipping, then the tax. Like, what I want is a place where I can go and find individual cards, buy lots, stuff that's low end, anything under $20. And that's what we need. We need a site that's under $20. And I guarantee that would be a huge home run for the hobby because most of the hobby is under $20. That's where all the kids are. In fact, parents could set up an account for their children and basically put in a prepaid amount, and kids could go on and just buy whatever they want to buy in that prepaid amount. And once the prepaid amount is over, they can't buy anything else until their parents re-up their account. That's the kind of thing that you need in the hobby. You need a place to be able to buy and sell low-end cards. All right. That's all I have for this week. I want to thank everybody. Like I said, I'm going on vacation for a couple weeks from this show. We'll be back. I'm going to do a live show. I don't know what the date is, but please follow me on X and Instagram. I will put out information there. It's the best way to keep in touch with me. You can DM me if you have questions. If you have other questions you want me to get to when we come back, put them down in the comments section below. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe button. We're doing sports and sports cards every single week. If you have a suggestion for an upcoming show, please put it down in the comments. Other than that, this is Doc Schwartz saying, I'll see you next week.
There's only one show. There's only one show I wanna watch. EDI Sports Show every Friday. From interviews and card news to the sports behind the scenes, only one show covers the deeds. EDI Sports Show. There's only one show. There's only one show.